Now we are. Hi, this is Saintjerome bringing you yet another crypto experience. Today we have an exciting interview with Clint Westwood of Happy Hour fame. How you doing today, Clint?
Doing well, doing very well. I'm glad to be on here, Kent.
Well, I really appreciate you coming and giving me a good interview here. Yeah, you interview well, and you've interviewed me on Happy Hour, so it's been pretty exciting. So anyway, I got a bunch of little questions down here that are a little odd, so we'll see how you react to them. If you don't want to answer any, you don't have to. So
Plead the fifth.
it's pretty cool, isn't it, that we can both be in the same room at the same time at different locations?
It's pretty amazing how that works. The art of technology. I can't believe, you're just right over here. It's kind of an illusion, a hall of mirrors that we're in. Kind of like our current monetary system, right? The hall of mirrors.
Exactly. So, well, we're doing some time traveling here because I think I'm back about 2 years.
Okay, yeah. So a little different
so
scenery in the bar,
about
maybe
2021, I believe.
Okay.
So
yeah.
Okay. So anyway, I heard you talking yesterday. I watched all your podcasts a couple times. I watch them mostly every day when you're on there. So sometimes I can't catch you live a lot, but when you're on a recording. So we were talking about avatars.
Yes.
Remember? Yeah. So
yes.
I was just curious. Let me see if I can do this on the fly. But if I recall, you had mentioned 3 different kinds of avatars, and I believe one of them was maybe this one. So would you like samurai?
Oh, samurai. Yeah, there we go.
Does that look good?
That looks good. A little samurai.
All right. I was looking at Ninja. I must have had something that they wouldn't let me borrow it. So I said, okay. So wow. So I got another one too, because I mean, your favorite type of shirt when it's hot is what for everybody? Everybody knows you knows.
Oh, everybody knows it's a tank top.
Okay, so here you go. I thought you might like this avatar.
No, there we go. Yeah,
there you go. So
pump it up. Pump it up.
Pump it up. Yep. It's like it looks like.
Oh, that moves hard on the shoulders, though. I'm not sure if I want to do that. Get older.
It's not hardly any. That's hardly any different at all. I mean, that looks just like you. Ready to go. So okay, I got some of these boring kind of questions here to go.
No,
but
that's good. Nobody asks me questions. I just ramble,
well, the first
so go ahead and ask me.
Just kind of what's your background? How'd you get to this point in your life? And you don't have to go into super detail, but for those who may not know.
Well, I'm a teacher by trade. You might know that. And you're a teacher. I went to Eureka College after graduating, and alma mater, President Reagan, 40th president.
Mm-hmm.
So I went there and I got my degree. Actually, I went to ICC, Illinois Central College first. So I got a 2-year, associate, I guess you could. I don't even know if I got my associate there. I just got the credit hours. So this is a little tidbit of advice. If you're going to go to a 4-year school and you've got some classes to get out of the way, it might behoove you to maybe take a year or maybe 2 years to go to the community college and kind of get those gen ed requirements out of the way. Like if you're going into I went into literature and I was good in math, but I had to take a math class and I just didn't really want to take a math class in college. I did it in high school. So you've got all these requirements you have to take. You can take it at a commuter college, a 2-year college, a lot cheaper. Those hours transfer into that 4-year degree. So that's what I did. I took a lot of the classes that, I didn't want to pay a lot of money for at a private school like Eureka. I took it at ICC. I had about 64 hours I think I could transfer into my degree. And then the GPA doesn't count though. See, that's the thing. As long as you're getting a C or higher, those credits will transfer in, but the GPA doesn't transfer in. So when I went to Eureka, I went 2 years at ICC, transferred all the gen ed stuff in, went to Eureka. I'm in my major, man. I'm taking English, I'm taking literature, some history. I got full professors, no teaching assistants or anything. And so you're getting all that knowledge. So you're getting the best bang for your buck. So after a year and a half, I graduated. So I graduated in 3.5 years. And at Eureka, I graduated with a summa cum laude, which was a 4.0. But the thing is, my college career, I did not have a 4.0. So those gen ed requirements I had at ICC, I got B's, I think I got a C in one class that I did like geology or something I had to take, earth science or something like that. And I just really didn't care for it, but I had to take it. Got it out of the way, transfer it over. So I graduate with a 4.0, but I took all the classes I wanted to take and got my degree in teaching, secondary education. I taught for a year, didn't really care for it. I mean, I was 21 years old, had my degree. They're like 3 years younger than me in some cases. So it was, they want to be your buddy, they want to be your friend, and I knew a lot of them too, family, and it's just it just didn't work out. It was a local school, so I got out of that, did a lot of different things. Ended up, I run a fast food restaurant. I sold things. I mean, and it's just I've done a lot. I ran a nightclub. Crazy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know. And then finally I got onto the track that I'm on now. I went back and took a lot of classes, some IT classes. And so I don't know how many credit hours I have, way beyond my degree, at the associate level, ICC. So I took a lot of the computer science classes, networking classes, and kind of got into this job that I've been in now for 20 years. Crazy that it's been that long now. I'll be 21 coming up soon. And I work with software in my company. My group, we develop software for this hardware equipment. And so right now I'm in a place to where it's kind of runs itself, and I do the support for it, and kind of handle it myself at this point. So I'm kind of my own entity within the company, and I can work from home, and I've done that for a long time. So it gives me a lot of time to look into things, to read about things, to investigate different things. I fell into crypto because I realized early on, even before I graduated from college, that the system's kind of messed up. How is it that the housing prices can boom and the wages don't go up, and how can you not seem to save money? You go to work, and that check, oh my gosh, I thought I worked for all this, and then you don't bring home a lot. And so I thought, well, what do you do to prevent that? What's really wrong? What's really happening here? How is it that I can't get ahead? Okay. And, I started looking more and more at the money, and I said, well, that's the problem. It's the money. It's that simple. It's an inflationary system. They create more money. It causes inflation. Your wages don't go up as high. So everything, that you need costs more. And so that got me into silver and gold, the precious metals. Is like, okay, this is a good hedge against, dollar getting destroyed or any currency getting destroyed. And I fell more into silver because I saw the fundamentals of it compared to gold, in that, silver's coming out of the ground roughly 8-to-1. Compared to gold, but the price doesn't reflect that. And I thought, well, that's pretty undervalued. If I'm going to put my money into one or the other, I think I'll put it in silver, because it's essentially the same, although silver can tarnish a little bit and gold doesn't. But ultimately, the properties are kind of the same, and silver offers more properties, the conductivity, the applications and industrial uses. And I thought, man, this is a no-brainer. It's been used as money. We just had money in the silver in 1964, so we've always said silver is money. So that kind of led me down to the path of, okay, this is the way to kind of escape that, system that's bleeding you of your energy. Let's put it into silver to store the value, a better battery, as opposed to the leaking battery of the dollar. And that led me to crypto. In 2013, I kind of heard about it, knew about it, and I'd heard about it before, but never internalized it. But in 2013, I finally sat down and I said, I know where I was. But I sat there and I said, man, look at this Bitcoin thing. Well, it just keeps going up. It's $200, $300, $400. Like, what is this? I've never seen anything like this. Nothing else does this.
Currency and on fire.
Yeah, right. I know. And so I invested a little bit in it, just took a risk like a lot of us do. It's kind of a big casino, when we first start. It's like, oh, we can make money doing this. This is kind of cool. But I didn't believe in it yet. I believed in silver as sound money, but I didn't believe in Bitcoin as sound money. So I bought it for like $400. I bought like 4 Bitcoin, and
oh, geez,
traded it around, got on the exchanges that existed, like a lot of people do when they come into it, like, oh, this one looks shiny. I want to get into this. I want to get into this. So you're using your Bitcoin to get these other things. And I still have some, well, I did, and the exchange went under Cryptsy.com. But, I had Dark Coin before it was Dash Coin. I had Unobtainium because there's only so many of them. I had Ron Paul Coin. I had all these different coins that were coming out, And so you got into it. But I really didn't believe, or I shouldn't say, I didn't understand how important the code was, that the rules were defined, right, the math of it. And then once I got that, kind of in 2016, a lot of that came from reading Cliff's data, Cliff High, to where he was talking about it. And I saw it playing out, and I'm thinking, wow, this is crazy. So I still had, I don't know, probably 3 of the Bitcoin at that point. The others just kind of got lost and robbed off exchanges, that kind of thing, learning process. So in 2016, it starts going up, his famous 480, 488 numbers. And then in 2017, it goes up. And I saw it go to parity with gold at the time. Gold was like $1,000 an ounce. And when I saw Bitcoin go to $1,000, I thought, oh, wow, this thing's that was kind of a hallmark, a marker, a watershed moment. When that happened, I'm like, that's pretty cool. I'm going to sell it and buy silver. So that's what I did. So I doubled my money, in the Bitcoin. And then after doing that, in 2017, there's a lot of attention around cryptocurrency. And I finally started coming back to it, looking at it and saying, you know what? Reading the white paper, understanding what it is. And once I understood the math and realized, hey, this is money that's defined by rules. You can't just print it. You just can't create it out of nothing. I got it, and then that's how I naturally fell into Litecoin. And I had bought Litecoin back when I bought Bitcoin, a little bit after that, traded for it on exchanges, because I understood even then that, wait a minute, 21 million Bitcoin, 84 million Litecoin, fairly launched, decentralized, all the things that Bitcoin did, Litecoin was doing, but faster and a little bit better. There's more supply, but there's cheaper transactions. And so I got into it then, and of course I'd sold it. But anyway, 2017 in earnest, I understood it. And that's really when I got into Litecoin quite a bit and started putting, my savings into that. Okay, I need to save money in Litecoin, put it into that. And not so much Bitcoin, just from the standpoint, I come to it with the same mentality of gold to silver, to where I understand they kind of both do the same things, but I see one as being way undervalued to the other one. And that's how I gravitated toward Litecoin. It works, it does what it needs to do, and it fulfills the function of sound money. And I've been a big proponent of it since.
Yeah, we've got a kind of incredibly similar background here. I mean, I've got you by a few years, but I'm a teacher and I've been a teacher for a long time. Here's the dumb part of me. All right, so I'm a little kid and I'm outside the bank, and they were mesmerizing us. They brought one day, the Federal Reserve came in, and they had, you ever see those machines where the dollars just blow through the air like that? They put it in,
like the glass machines, you can grab all you want. Yeah.
Okay, so they had that, and they had these big old bodyguards just guarding this machine. And I don't know if you remember, and they weren't really officially notes. I don't know how they work, but they had $100,000 bills then. You remember that?
Like fake money almost.
No, I mean, no, it was.
Money,
I mean, it was. You could, at that time, you could turn it in for $100,000. I mean, now we got 100. Yeah, they had $100,000.
I didn't realize they went that high. I knew there was a $10,000 bill. I didn't realize they made them
so of course these suckers, to get your attention, they got $100,000 bill floating in there. We go, whoa, they got a couple of $1,000 bills, and all this stuff.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, wow. And I just had this dirty silver dollars in my hand that were 90% silver. I'm like,
it's only $1.
Yeah, I got these silver ones. This is like 62 or 63, right? And then I remember seeing a coin magazine, and it had on the cover the new quarter, and it had a big blow-up picture of the clad in the middle. I go, whoa, I look at my little plain old silver dollar, only one color. I said, that is too cool. So yeah, I bought into the whole thing. And somewhere in my adulthood, it was kind of getting on. In the 90s, I started. I knew silver and gold were good deals to start with. I had a few coins like coin collectors do, kind of a coin collector, but not a real serious one. Yeah. And then when Y2K got closer and I started learning about that, I go, oh, all right, what's going to survive this? And I knew fiat currency wasn't going to. I already knew about Weimar Germany and all that kind of stuff, where a wheelbarrow of the Reichsmark would buy a loaf of bread. And the story when the boys brought the wheelbarrow, left it outside, see if they could buy it, come back, the wheelbarrow's gone, but the money was dropped on the ground.
Yeah, we got more use case in the wheelbarrow than we do this, this lugging this stuff around that doesn't buy anything.
Yeah, so I got into alternative currencies first, like the Berkshire dollars and like that. They're like the Ithaca timeshares. I don't know if you know much about.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like at Ithaca timeshares, you do a service. So maybe you teach an hour in English, help a kid, and you get whatever Berkshire shares or Ithaca dollars those are, and then you can take your Ithaca dollar for somebody else with a service or a good that's worth that same amount. So I kind of got into that. I collected some of those just because they're cool, and then then I started doing I was the Ron Paul guy, right? So I got.
Oh yeah, I was a big Ron Paul fan.
Libertarian, and then I did Liberty dollars. All right, and
I remember those.
Von Nothouse, and I saw, wow, and it was such a cool idea. Their main denomination was 1 ounce of silver, and everything came off of that ounce. And believe it was long enough ago that it was like 1 ounce was a $10 bill or $10 coin in that thing.
Yeah.
And I think silver was like $7 an ounce maybe then. It was like incredibly low. And so that got me going in the whole thing anyway. And then crypto is almost the same as you, about 2016, 2017. I got Litecoin because, well, I can buy a Bitcoin for 300, but I can get a Litecoin for $4.
Yes. Wait a minute. I get a lot more of these, and there's not that many more of them.
Yeah, I didn't really do the ratio thing, but it just like, well, I felt cool to have a whole Litecoin instead of point whatever,
right,
which I couldn't afford. So anyway,
I know, right?
I think it's kind of cool that we had that. Okay, I'm changing subjects on you. You ready?
Yeah.
Why is your card called the Digibug?
The Digibug because it's blue and it's small and it's underappreciated. And it does what it needs to do. It gets me from point A to B. I've taken it to many meetups, and I'm a big fan of Digibyte too. So I call it the Digibug. And yeah, it's kind of my two big ones that I resonate with the most, I guess you could say, is Litecoin and Digibyte. And so, I got the little blue Volkswagen Beetle. I've actually got two of them. Yeah, the one is probably retired, the original. So I've got a second one that's 4 years newer, 2004. So I'm going on 20 years with that. But no, it's a utility. I mean, it's a utilitarian car. It gets me where I need to go. I like it. And it reminds me a lot of Digibyte. It's just kind of underappreciated. I've had people say, wow, he's not doing very well. Look at that car he drives. And it's like, I mean, even if I do well, I'm not the kind of guy that's going to go out and buy a Lambo. You know what I mean? I just want things that work. And so that's kind of what I resonate with.
Well, my newest car, Clint's a 07.
There you go.
I'm a liar. The Prius limo. Yes, folks, I got a Prius limo. The front half's a 07, the back half's an 08. So I guess I got 2/3 of an 08.
You have 7.5 or something, or 7 and 3/4.
So my other question, I was looking for a picture of my limo. I couldn't find it fast enough, so I'll give up on that. But here's a question I got: if we had a race with the Prius limo and Digibug, which one's going to win?
Well, that's a tough one. I'm not sure. The one I've got now, it's the Digibug I drive now. It used to be a diesel, so the top speed wasn't as good, but the fuel economy was better. But this one here, I took to Oklahoma City, and it's kind of peppy, so I don't know. It'd be a good race. It depends how many people you got in the limo, I guess. Maybe that makes
sense. I won't say exactly, but I haven't driven the Prius limo. Like it handles just like a regular Prius, which is nice. You just got to watch backing up, and use your mirrors, But I drove a dump truck a long time ago, so not bad. But I do know that Priuses can go over 90 miles an hour. When I had to get to the World Series in 06 and before game time.
It does do that.
Yeah, so they actually, two engines, it actually moves pretty quick, which is surprising. So, okay. Yeah. What are your favorite cigars?
Boy, I tell you, I tend to, I ask myself this. These are the kind of things I think about when I'm mowing. Okay, if someone came to me and said you can only smoke one brand of cigars, any type of cigar in that house, in that brand, which one would it be? And I think I'd fall into the Oliva cigars. I like Olivas. They have a lot of good flavors, and if I were pinned down on that, I would have to say it'd be an Oliva brand. Now, within that, that's a tough one as far as which one out of the Oliva, I don't know. That'd be a tough one. I like the Serie V. Yeah, we probably have to stick with that. The Serie V Oliva.
So are they a little better than the Swisher Sweets I used to smoke in college?
I used to smoke those too. They got that sweet tip, and there are some of them that still have the sweet tip. And a lot of them now, they have flavors, different brands. I'm smoking a Drew Estate right now. That's a pretty good brand of cigar, but this one's the Undercrown. But they make a lot of them that have infused with essential oils and all kinds of. They smell really good, wow. And yeah, it's pretty crazy, what they've done with cigars now. But I'm a little more old school. I like
this is like
tobacco.
Not the same thing, but with the vaping thing going on, that's a little bit of an issue in schools with kids.
Yeah,
and I found out that there's all these smells they can put. They have a vape that smells like makeup.
So all kinds of them.
So how can you tell that a girl went vaping or a guy went vaping and it smells like makeup? I was like, what the heck, right?
I know. Yeah, there are so many when you go to these shops. I never go into those, but I see the advertisements and I see them in the window. It's like all these different flavors, and it's just, they're kind of catering to get people, hooked on it, I guess.
Yeah,
I'm more of a purist, I don't like that stuff. It's too much chemical, and so that's one of the things with. I used to smoke when I ran the nightclub. I smoked a lot, cigarettes. Used to chew tobacco, and I'll tell you what. those were the hardest things for me to ever quit. And I quit for probably 20 years before, I kind of got back into smoking cigars again. But with me, with the cigar, I can put that down. Like, there have been times after happy hour, I'm like, I'm just tired of smoking. I don't want to have another drink, so I'll go a whole week, and not smoke a cigar. And I don't feel the same, symptoms, the physical and psychological connection with those like I did with cigarettes and with tobacco. I don't know if it's the chemicals that they put in those things that make your body dependent. But with a cigar, it's a whole different experience for me. It's more of an enjoyable thing, a relaxing thing. It's not that I got to get up and, I got to have a chew. I got to have a smoke. I got to have, it's just not the same. It's a whole different thing for me. So
Well,
I don't know. There's something to it.
Some conspiracy theorists say that, so you can read what I'm really saying. Some conspiracy theorists, because I don't know if it's true or not, say they put an addictive chemical in there to get you addicted to the cigarettes. That's what I've heard anyway. Then I've actually heard lately that nicotine itself is helpful for your immunity cells.
I've heard that too.
Yeah. So, so if that's
I know.
bad, so maybe not so much the nicotine as it is the chemicals they put with the nicotine, right? And
yeah.
I don't know, but that's just, one of those conspiracy theory things that I hear. So, we talk
from
about
personal experience. That's my experience. I mean, the addictive nature is not in the cigar, just the tobacco, the regular, just rolled up tobacco and the old school processes that are done. I think it's more of, I would tend to agree with that. There's something to the cigarettes and the chewing tobacco, and probably the same with the vaping. I mean, because there's got to be some chemicals in that to where it could be more addictive than the traditional way, because tobacco's been around for how many centuries. It's nothing new.
Long time.
Now all of a sudden,
you go back changed with the Native Americans, right?
Mm-hmm.
It goes back a long time, whatever.
Right, ceremonial type of thing. Yeah.
Let's see. What was I going to go? Well, since we kind of mentioned Litecoin already, all right, you ready for the big question? What's your 6 cryptos? I went backwards, and mine was not so much like what I think they're going to do. Is kind of like I like them, and I think they had utility, and a little bit. I'm kind of was a couple of them there. I said, I think this might really take off, and I'd like to diversify. However, I'm not choosing Komodo like I did before. I'm not choosing salt.
I don't think that's a bad coin, Komodo, but I know what you're saying,
And here's my big loser. Did you see that? I said the other day, Badao.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my God. You know what the volume was yesterday?
It was like $1,000 or something.
No, it was under 600.
Oh, yeah, you can't even trade it. It's like
I can't get rid of it if I want to. I was like, oh boy. Well, they're not all winners.
No, that's true. Let me disconnect that. There are. I don't want to do that. I got my speaker on here. Give me just 1 second. Let me turn this off. Sorry.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
Okay, we're back. So, the top cryptos. I saw your top 6, and no, I get it. It's one of those things to where the ones I believe in the most are the ones I talk about. So it's not that I'm not into other things, because hey, we were born in 2017 in the crypto market in a lot of ways. Right. So what happened then, the ICOs and all this stuff, all the shiny things. But Litecoin and Digibyte are my core belief cryptos because of the proof of work, and they've been around and running nonstop for, in the case of Litecoin, almost 12 years, Digibyte almost 10 years. In January it'll be 10 years. And there's a fixed supply of them, and I like that. I like that the rules are defined. You can define the rules, I can win the game. But it's changing the rules, the goalposts move. I don't like that. And that's what our current monetary system is. So with all the other cryptos that are out there, I have been looking at a few that I'm like, just looking at charts, looking at the past cycles, where they can where they've been, where they can go. Kind of like what you're doing, what you did with your top 6. I don't want to say these are my top 6, but I think these are opportunities, if you want to look at it as such, to where more opportunities even than, Bitcoin or Litecoin, I think even much more so. And the reason why is because you think of Bitcoin right now, most solid coin out there, and it's the safest coin that you can get into, without a doubt, But for it to triple in price, to go to $90,000, I mean, I just looked at it. You're going to have over $1 trillion come into Bitcoin to pump that price 3 times at this point. That's a lot of money.
That is a
And
lot of money.
so when I look at something like Digibyte and it's less than a penny, 0.008, that thing could go 30 times up. And I just did the math, and I think it's only $4 billion comes into Digibyte, and it 30x's. I mean, so, you kind of look at it that way of, what's the biggest bang for my buck? If you're in the casino, what's got the best odds of, paying off and hitting? And I think Digibyte's one of them. It's a safe bet. But there are some speculative bets that I've kind of been looking at that I think are way undervalued right now. And I didn't get into them at first because there was a lot of hype about them, and so I kind of
Right.
let that play out. I don't buy into the hype. But one of them would be Divi.
Mhm.
Right now, Divi's like 0.003 something or zero
Yeah.
zero 0.004, really cheap. And I remember hearing about Divi at the 2019 Litecoin conference. And at that point, it was a penny. And I know people that bought 100,000 of them, and it cost them $1,000. Right now, it's almost a third of that. And see, they've built a lot of things out between, and that was my big thing. I mean, what have they done? What are they doing? Now they've got a wallet, they got a swap exchange on their wallet. They're trying to get into DeFi. It's on its own network, and that's what I like. I like independent blockchains to where it's not an ERC20 token dependent upon the gas of Ethereum. It stands on its own, and so that's one coin that's kind of I'm kind of looking at as a really good buy right now, because if you think about it again, the last cycle it hit like 16, 17 cents, and
Yeah.
right now it's like a third of a penny, and you could buy 100,000 of them right now for what, $300, $400.
Yeah.
And
I should have
I
listened to
mean,
Snippy and licked the ice cream because I had a
I
node.
know. Right.
And I still have the node, but yeah, it's like $300 now, right?
I
So
know. And it's tough. And so you look at it and you've kind of been burned. And I've had coins like that where they kind of bitch you and you're like, I don't even want to put any more money into it at this
yeah,
point, But I'm coming at it late, and I'm looking at it thinking, it's pretty cheap right now. I mean, it
that's
really
real
is.
cheap. Yeah.
And for a 10x, it's only 4 cents. That could easily be done, and not a lot of money has to go into it. It could go a lot higher. Another one, that was shilled kind of heavy was, and this is more of a little risky bet. It doesn't run on its own blockchain, ERC20 token, but it's AMP. Now, it's very
And
well is probably a security, but as Blind Dave says, hey, Microsoft and Apple were securities, and look how they paid off. So I'm not against that kind of thing. It's just that if I want my money in something, it's going to be Litecoin, it's going to be Digibyte, and Bitcoin. Those kind of things are the core that you want to put your money in, I think. But there's a lot of upside potential, and to sit back and not take advantage of that, when you've got all these opportunities, it's like buying, seeing Apple at $5 and not buying it, or Amazon at $1 and not buying it. Why not throw a little bit at it? It doesn't cost you a whole lot right now. It's at its all-time low at like 0.002 cents, a fifth of a penny, and it's been as high as 10, 12 cents. So, I mean,
yeah, that'd be an enormous gain.
a huge gain. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't even imagine, I mean, you could go, I mean, it could potentially go 100 times from here, because if it went to 12 cents in the last cycle and it's still around, I mean, why couldn't it go to 20 cents this time? In the next, that's 100 times gain with very minimal risk. It's just like, hey, take a couple $100 and throw it at it and forget about it. And these time frames that I'm thinking of, where these things can pay off is, I'm still a firm believer in the 4-year cycle until it's broken, the 4-year crypto cycle. No matter what news, what FUD comes out, doesn't matter. It's human emotion. Retail has to like heal from the wounds of the last one and get excited again. And it takes that time. And it seems to be a 4-year cycle to do that. So I'm looking at 2025. So if you've got a 2-year time frame, could be less than that. Could be the beginning of 2025 or even the end of 2024. But if you've got a 2-year time frame from now, I think those things are just something to maybe roll the dice on. Just very cheap, very minimal risk, a whole lot of upside potential. And if it's what's 2 years? I mean, people in the stock market hold this stuff for 20, 30 years and don't see these kind of gains. So it's an opportunity, I think. That's another one that I kind of look at that's way down, that's kind of beaten up, that might be something to look at. Another one that you kind of mentioned is the Theta ecosystem.
Right.
And specifically in there, I think T-Drop could be one because it's pretty low right now. It's, and then the market cap's
About a
like
tenth of a penny. Last I looked, roughly.
yeah. And I mean, you don't have to put a lot of money into it. So there's very little risk that you put in there and a whole lot of gain that you could have because, a lot of people, Theta's got patents. I mean, there's a lot of things that they're doing. There's a lot of people who support that and hold that and stake that, and that T-drop coin that runs on that network. I mean, I think there's only going to be 20 billion of them I say only 20 billion, but when you look at, Shiba, when you look at,
Doge.
Pepe, yeah, Doge, which is unlimited. I mean, well, that's 20 billion.
I think they got a controlled rate of 5 billion a year now, which isn't an end to it,
but it's defined.
I mean, yeah, it's released anyway. And we know, it's not set, but at least it's controlled.
Well, yeah, and you think about it, there's like Doge right now. If you look at it, maybe there's 135 billion that exist.
Yeah,
and then maybe another 5 billion a year. Okay, well, if there's 8 billion people in the world, you just look at it and say, okay, right now 135 billion divided by 8, how many Doge do I need? And then each year, add another Doge. I mean, to keep up with inflation to where you're ahead. And so you can math it out, you can chart it, where you need to be to kind of hold a certain amount. And it's defined. And so I don't have a problem with Doge as far as that goes. Some people do because it's it's inflationary, but what the inflation rate's going to be. And so you can play the game. Whereas
I got real I just bought some, several years ago just because I thought it was weird. It was like a tipping coin. It was like,
why not?
Remember. It was so little money.
Yeah.
So little money. And I threw like $10 at it or something,
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hit the jackpot on that one because I went, it's how much? 50 cents? What the heck?
I know.
So I made a little money, I just moved it into fiat and spent it already, but it's like, well, what the heck?
But that's all right. But you got something out of it. I mean, you were able to, and that's what it is. Money. That's what money's for. Like I said, like any of these dollars, these Liberty dollars, and these Von Nothaus, what he created, silver, all the money that you have, ultimately you want to use it for something, right?
Right.
But so why not? Why keep falling behind the game, with the Federal Reserve note? Why not, look at something that's going to outpace that and do better than that and with very low risk? And that's what Doge was. And it really paid off for a lot of people. It found its value against Bitcoin and, made a lot of fiat dollars out of it.
Definitely surprised about that. Well, you got any other one? Now, you look behind me there on the virtual screen that, my number one's Litecoin also, so.
Yeah.
So I can slip into the Litecoin fam and not be rejected when I mention some three-letter things that drive everybody crazy,
Mm-hmm.
So let's just drop it here since I'm on that.
Let's put it out there.
Let me put it up here if I can find that real quick. I thought I was being clever with all these little pictures, and then it's like they're not going to where they're supposed to go. What the heck?
Trying to manage all this stuff and move this here and there.
There we go. Found it. Ta-da!
There it is, the XRP.
Ta-da. Yeah, XRP.
Cha-ching,
well,
cha-ching.
If you want to make one of these guys mad, call it Ripple. They blow a freaking gasket on it when you call it Ripple.
Yeah, because Ripple's the company, and XRP is the coin.
It's like, what the heck? I was like, so, and I just I've been listening to the reasons for it, because I was the Litecoin fam, Bitcoin
pretty negative on Ripple, or I should say XRP, for a long time.
They're like banker coin, stay out of it. Oh, and then people are like almost in disdain and kind of our community.
Oh yeah.
But now I start looking at recently, and it's like, well, we're getting out of the SWIFT system, and we're going to ISO 200.2. There's really, I think, only 7 coins that are compliant with that system right now.
There aren't many.
And XRP is the big one, and XLM is the second one. So, and XRP, 46 cents. Really? I mean, you can't throw like something at it, and I don't care if you hate it. Maybe it was a good move. And then XLM's like 9 cents, right?
I know. And I can't disparage anybody for that. And that's the thing with me. I don't. Hey, follow your path. I mean, whatever it is. I don't know what your situation is, what it is. If this is something that can make your life better, and it's an economic tool that puts you in a better position, use it. Absolutely use it. So I can't disparage anybody, for using any of these. And there are certain coins I'm just like, I guess I could mention one. I'll mention one. Hex. At first with Hex, I'm just like, are you kidding me? I mean, you've got all these billions and you're going to lock it up and get, X amount of percentage back. But the thing is, the community said, you know what, we're giving this value. We're putting our energy and our money in this, and we give it value. And guess what? It works. So how do you disparage somebody, because some of these people, I mean, the thing went to 50 cents. I mean, and it was like fractions of pennies. And a lot of people, their lives changed because of it. And
Oh
how
yeah.
many people can say that in the fiat dollar system, that their lives have been better and improved?
Oh, nobody.
Right. So,
No,
unless
not
you're
if you're
unless
just
you're one of
playing
the
percentage.
vampires, pulling the strings.
You know, Clint, about gosh, I've been teaching a long time, and it's about I'm hitting the over 40, I'm over the 40-year mark. And so
Yeah.
I was looking about 10 years ago at my buying power from when I first started teaching, and and
Mhm.
I got 30 years of salary increases, right?
Yep.
Cost of living, supposedly. Did you
Yep.
know in 30 years, I only had 1.5 times my first salary?
Wow.
And
So you're losing.
the buying power, now
You're
it looked a lot
losing.
bigger, but what
Yeah.
it could get was about 1.5 was all. And I'm probably about the same right now, actually.
Mhm.
Somebody goes, "Hey, you do pretty good." I go, "Yeah, but I was making 19,000 in 1979. That's what's that now? It was 80,000 or
Yeah. It's
70,000,
like,
whatever it is
I
now."
need a bump. Yeah.
Well,
But that's what it takes.
yeah,
You have to continually outpace the system. And it's, it forces you to gamble in a lot of ways because you're walking into it as a loser. It's like going to Vegas and into the casino. That's why I call it a vampire casino. They're just there to
so
steal your
what
energy.
kind of casino is that, Clint?
Vampire casino. That's what it
Vampire
is.
casino.
They're just robbing you of your energy. That's all it does. And that's
I
what our
see.
current monetary system does, is robs you of your energy, usually over time, gradually. But sometimes you have quick times when it does it, just like over the whole past 3 years where they printed all these trillions. And so that's why we've got all the blow up in inflation that we had with the fuel and the food and all the different things. There you go. That's it. Vampire night at the casino.
And I got a better one. So you ready for this one?
I'm ready. Bring
It
it.
took me about 20 minutes of vampire casino searches last night. I like this one.
Oh yeah, there you go.
The vampire slot machine.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
Want to
That's
play that? Put your energy into that thing.
man. And that's all it does. It robs you. It completely robs you. And that's what our monetary system is right now. It's just a big casino that robs you of your energy through inflation. And sometimes, inflation's a lot worse
Well,
than other times. And you really get hit.
I don't get any copyright trouble because I always give you the credit
Yeah,
whenever I
that's all right.
quote that. I know I'm just being funny, but yeah, I mean
You
you're an
can you
English
can
teacher.
use it
Come
all
on,
you want.
You wouldn't plagiarize. You're an English teacher. Oh,
No.
and chat. I was going to go. This was my last question. But I guess I got there already. Chat GI and all this stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
what in the world? It's like an AI invasion. Just boom. Now
I
it
know.
isn't boom. This stuff's been in the background. But when you get these two AI robots talking, they start talking about the end of the world and how they're going to get rid of humanity. I'm like, what?
Oh yeah. I know. And that's what they want to do though. They want to kind of foster that narrative. But yeah, you're right. I mean, this stuff, just like everything, the stealth bomber, how long was that out there before,
Oh yeah,
we
it was
finally
years
realized it
before.
existed. They have all this stuff all ready to go. So there's a plan. I mean, there's a plan behind the scenes. I mean, why wouldn't there be? If you're running the system and want the system to exist and continue because you benefit from it, because you wield a lot of power in it, why wouldn't you game this stuff out with all the money that you have, and all the knowledge and all the think tanks and all the technology behind the scenes? Why wouldn't you be doing that to try and preserve the system going forward and be 50 years in advance of what's rolling out right now? So they've got a plan. There's no doubt about it. And I think a lot of it is kind of like what you alluded to a little bit. It's to kind of stamp out humanity and make it more technocratic, to make it less personal, to kind of take away that human spirit and make you more dependent upon automation. This is the way it is. It'll fix everything. But you give up a lot when that happens. And I don't think that's a good thing. I think it's good to maintain that humanity. That's why I like meetups. That's why I like to
Yeah,
get together and, see real people. You can do a lot of interviews. You can do a lot of this stuff, and you're good at that. You go out to the coin shows. You've got Crypto Experiences. I mean, your whole
that's
channel,
right.
it's about real experiences, that you engage in. And coming from that teacher mindset, even though I don't officially teach, I am still certified. I can
Mm-hmm.
teach if I want to. But I mean, it's just in your nature to where you want to be hands-on, you want to engage people, and you want to, get that mind thinking, that critical thinking, and get people, really knowing what they're about, who they are, how they interact with the world. And a lot of this technology is pulling people away from that. You know, this screen we're talking on. At some point, it's going to be so easy that, oh, you see the distance learning. Why do we want to go to school? Why do we want to meet everybody? You know, we can just learn it from our homes. But, you know, you miss out on an important factor, that human interaction that's so important so that humans can advance.
I'll throw this out here. I mean, because I'm still teaching, you know, part-time, and I'm still out there. The kids that are the younger kids that were, you know, COVID up and at home for 2 years, they are having a lot of trouble knowing how to act in school. You know, they're not acting up. They're just more introverted, kind of inside their little machine. And when I go down the hallway, we're so small. I see 6th graders, 7th graders, 8th graders all day, you know, coming by the high school. And I say hi. And honest to God, they put their head down and shuffle away. And I go, and I have to stop in front of them and go, hello. The real response back is hi or hello. And they go, oh, hi. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? And that's because these kids been locked up for 2 years.
Yep. And it doesn't, and you'll see it with a lot of the kids will be doing online chats. I mean, they'll be talking that way. It destroys language. You know, I get so frustrated, you know, with my wife even. She sent me a text today. They're out of state, my wife and daughter. She's going to go to the University of Alabama, and they're down there visiting. And she sent me a text, and I said, what does this text mean? You know, because, you know, coming from where I'm at, I'm just like, I'll write a paragraph so that I'm absolutely clear in the text. Well, everybody's abbreviating everything, and it's like, what are you saying? You know, because a lot of the nuance is lost. You know, you can say, I can't stand you. You know, if you're saying it in person, you realize I'm being sarcastic, you know, but if you say it in a text, they're like, oh my gosh, you know, and so you miss the nuance of humanity in these things. And so it's hard for people to engage at a face-to-face level, but it's almost like, you know, how the people are in the car, they're very emboldened, they'll flip you the finger or something and, you know, yell at you. But on the street, they'd never do that, unless you're in New York, maybe. But it takes away from that interpersonal communication level, and kind of it puts us on the wrong path, I think, because you don't really get that. You don't get that human, better word, I can't think of it, that nuance, you know, that comes across.
I got welcome to Washington, D.C. with the bird when I got on the highway. I wasn't about to do road rage. I got like, okay, fine. You know?
Yeah, but it has an effect. I mean, it does.
Welcome
you know,
to Washington,
D.C.
like,
yeah, you know, and it's I don't know. I mean, you don't think sometimes, you know, when you're engaging with other people that way, because it takes away that humanity level, and you're just talking to somebody out there that you don't know. So you say a lot of things that maybe you shouldn't say. And that's not good, because, you know, words are still powerful. And when you use them the wrong way, you know, they can be taken the wrong way too.
Oh, yeah.
So
no, I like my preferred, you know, if I'm especially business situation, I want to go face to face in person, and at least a phone call. And I have trouble communicating with one of my family members because they just want to text. And it's like we usually waste a text or two because we don't know what the other one means. And I'm like, okay.
You got to preface it, and then it's like, okay, this is what I'm talking about.
No, this is what I meant. Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to switch on you totally here. So, what do you use this for?
Make sure I can see it. Kind of small. It looks.
That's Pee Wee Herman's machine, Rube Goldberg machine.
The Rube Goldberg machine.
What did he make with that?
Oh, I don't remember what it was. Was it pancakes or was it waffles? I can't remember.
It's something in a frying pan. I don't know what it was.
I can't remember what he made. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, I couldn't remember it when I was talking about it.
I just love those things. Like, you know, that game Mousetrap's been out forever. That was a game when I was a kid. And Rube Goldberg was a thing when I was a kid. And I remember that even like in the comics, I think, you know, they have a Rube Goldberg like machine like ever so often in the comic section. And I thought they were so cool.
Yeah, but it teaches a valuable lesson. It's like, you know, you can overthink something to get to the goal, and you expend a lot of resources, a lot of energy, which is kind of cool. It's a nice experiment, but you got to realize when you're dealing with billions and trillions of dollars at the governmental level, you don't want to be putting Rube Goldberg devices in place. You know, let's be as efficient as we possibly can, rather than, hey, let's try and, you know, tinker our way through this. But if you have unlimited money, you can afford to do that. And there are consequences at some point for trying to do that stuff. I think we're hitting the wall now.
I don't know. I'm going back to Rube Goldberg here. I got two questions on that. My son showed me I'll call it a rock group, but it's more kind of like pop group. And they do Rube Goldberg machines all the time in their videos. They're the same group that they flew in an airplane and they dropped the plane down and they were zero gravity. You know the name of that group? Man, I can't think of it, but
I'm not sure.
It's so cool because they had all these Rube Goldberg things, and they would at the end the machine would splatter them with paint in an artistic way at the end. It was just awesome. And
to do all that stuff.
I'll try to find it and send you a clip. It's amazing. And if you like Rube Goldberg, man, they're good. I can't remember their name though. So and then
there's a trivia question. When this airs, we'll see who knows it. And maybe we'll give them a big high five.
So then, following up on the machine, if you had a Rube Goldberg machine that you could make, what would you make it for?
Goodness.
Maybe in the bar doing something.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Make me an old fashioned, I guess. With some bourbon. I don't know. Roll me a cigar or something. I don't.
There you go. Roll me a cigar.
Yeah, you take it, and pull it off, and take it and roll it down, and do all this stuff, and you put all kinds of money. I'll have like $50 into each cigar or something. Whereas it's a lot cheaper if you just buy it.
That really made me do flashbacks. So when you said that. So, well, we can go through doing good down the questions. Okay.
Pee Wee Herman, man. Yeah. The Alamo.
We won't go into that. Billy Baloney and all that stuff. We'll just gloss over that topic, right? So yeah. So now let's go with the happy hour. So I saw you and Lisa back in a Bitcoin Ben meeting about 4 years ago, about 2020 earlier or so, or maybe even 2019.
Okay. We did a lot of stuff in 2019. When was it? Yeah, where was it?
2019. And it was in St. Louis at that outdoor park in the pavilion.
Okay.
Yeah, and
that's probably 2019, I think.
Yeah, it probably was. So that's when I first kind of got in and started meeting people.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that. And I was following Ben big time back then. He's one of many. But Cliff Highs. I've been following Cliff High since the '90s.
See, my experience with him is really early 2000s. I think it was before 9/11. I kind of got onto him. There was Coast to Coast AM and Gear and all that.
I was an avid listener. Now that they switched to all aliens all the time, I don't really listen.
It's a different vibe,
when Wells got kicked off, is it kind of and I subscribed to him for a while, but then his guests started going downhill. I was like, oh well, I'll quit stuff. I know. So anyway, going back to that, when did you and Lisa really kind of meet up and decide on this happy hour thing?
I was interacting with her. It was before her first Oklahoma City meetup, to where she reached out to Ben in his chats and said, listen, I do marketing and I did foster care. I can set up a meetup here in Oklahoma City. And that was back in 2018, I think November. And I was going to go, and I had talked to her. She's like, oh, you should come down. We're just online talking, back and forth, chatting. And that's where I was first, I met her, and was, came into contact with her. And I wasn't able to go to that. And I know where I was. I was at my daughter's speech competition. And I'm like, okay, it's late at night. It's like a Thursday night or a Friday night. I think it was. And the event might have been Friday or Saturday. But anyway, I would have had to have left right after that at like 10 p.m. at night and drive 10 hours to Oklahoma City and then show up to the event. And I said, I can't do it. I'm just not gonna be able to make it. And I had just come off going to the first Litecoin summit in, I think, September of that year, 2018. So, I was ready to kind of get out there and travel a little bit. It's part of my evolution. And I did not go, but we had still talked. And there was another meetup that was going to be in, I think, March of that year in Lexington, Kentucky, that Ben was having. And that was a good meetup. And she was going to go, but at the time, that's when Trump grounded the planes, that certain specific plane that had an issue. So she couldn't get flights, or no flights available, and she's all frustrated, wanted to go. That was March of 2019. So I finally met her in the beginning of April 2019 at the Blanco, Texas meetup that Ben had, the big event there. Is a huge.
Is that the one that rained on every?
I mean, that day I remember, at the Airbnb, the lightning was striking. I'm like, are we going to have this event today? And it was just raining and pouring, and it was on the dirt. It was just
you had everybody
muddy
there, right?
Oh my gosh, there's so many people
there. Even
he was there. I mean, Jean-Claude was there.
Oh wow!
I remember Crypto finally was there. BitBoy Crypto was there.
Oh my lord!
J Chains was there. Laura from the Digibike community, Laura Taylor, Blind Dave. That's when I met him.
Oh,
Bix Weir
goodness.
had an event the night before, where he was
Right,
singing
right.
in this
Remember that.
bar, and that's where I met Blind Dave outside there, talking to him for the first time. A lot of people, kind of came together. Nana was there, Lisa's mom and her dad was there. I mean, there was just a lot of people that came, a lot of people that are no longer really in the crypto space a whole lot, but I met a lot of people there, and it was a really great event. And that's where I met Lisa. I helped her with the table. She had her, charity stuff set up, and Johnny Litecoin had printed up paper wallets for Litecoin that was
Okay.
giveaways for that, and it was a really great event. Just one of those events to where you really got a taste of the spirit of crypto. And I like to use the analogy of crypto is kind of a lighthouse that calls wandering boats home. We're all out there realizing there's problems, there's troubled waters. And what do we do about it? We don't know. Then we see this big light. We're like, okay, that looks like it. Okay, let's go there. And, it brings people together from disparate backgrounds, but it's all kind of that spirit of humanity wrapped up into sound money. And because that's all money is, it's a representation of your energy and really your labor, your spirit, what you put out into the world. So you want to preserve that in some way for, going forward for your children, your family, for posterity, for humanity. And it's one of those things that Lighthouse has called a lot of people together, and that called a lot of people together. And since then, 2019, we went to a lot of events, Lisa and JMac and Mitch, and Silvertooth. So many different people that have kind of, we're all family now. Really it is. To where, I'll have an event and, everybody shows up, and it's just, it's really invigorating because it gives me a lot of faith in humanity that there are people out there looking for answers, and there are still a lot of wandering boats out there. And I think that's kind of my mission. I still have that teacher spirit to where I just want people to kind of, I'll put a message out there. I want to activate people because they're going to do better for themselves than I can ever, hope to preach to them to do. But if I can wake them up and give them, that spark that's in them already, then they're on the right path, and so crypto has allowed me to do that. It's just kind of awakened something in us.
Yeah, it gives us a common ground, because I used to think logic would would bring people over to your side, and then I learned the hard way that logic doesn't work. And I think it's kind of what we're going through right now, without going into those political details. People got to experience stuff before they figure it out.
They really do. They got to get smacked down and hit. And
oh yeah, unfortunately, and it's sad that we got to go through that procedure. But yeah, I learned that about 20 years ago, actually. So I was like, okay, well, this isn't, I can. It's like telling kids, right? But until they actually go, oh, yeah, I see some wisdom in that now.
I know, and yeah. To follow up with the happy hour thing, you got that in the background there. That kind of was the genesis. That's when I met Lisa. We really clicked. We had, kind of the same mindset, and she started doing her shows. And then she said, let's do a Friday show. Let's do a happy hour. She likes to have Tito's. I like to have, different beverages. And so, hey, let's just talk about crypto, talk about different things, talk about the community, do these things. And that kind of kicked it off. And as of right now, I'm very sure that the happy hour segment, because she does shows every day, but the happy hour show is the longest running show on her channel because, we're always there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
We always do it. And, and we went to meetups. We were going to meetups in 2019. And then the whole thing with, the pandemic happened. And then 2020 was kind of a dry year where there aren't going to be any meetups. There weren't any meetups. So I finally said, I'm going to put together a meetup here. I'll just do it myself, and bring people together. And so, I had my Westwood event in 2020 and every year since. 2021, we went on the road a lot, and it helps when crypto's up. It helps, when you've got more purchasing power to be able to travel and do those things, and you get more sponsorships. And that allowed us in 2021 to break even doing this stuff instead of going in the hole. And so we did a lot of the live meetups in the bar, like a real happy hour, and bringing people together, setting them up with wallets, getting them involved in crypto. Hey, don't have any crypto, I'll set you up with a Litecoin wallet, send you some Litecoin so that you experience it. And it's like your channel, Crypto Experiences, and people need to experience it. Once they do, they're forever changed. You can preach all you want, but until it happens to them and they feel it and they're a part of it, it's not real. And so that's
I appreciate the fact that we're not very far apart, and I can get to get to your abode there and your estate easily, and it's tough for me to travel more than about 6 hours or 5 6 hours because of my responsibilities
Right.
on things. So that's nice. So I was going to ask you a weird question. So what's
Uh-huh.
the difference between Westwood and Woodstock?
More clothes at Westwood. Let's just say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody's wearing clothes at Westwood.
probably not any. Well, I won't say, but not so
There might
many
be some similarities, in
other.
other aspects, but we're all clothed here at Westwood.
And we're generally a little bit older now too. To that standpoint, and the music. Yeah, except I grew up with. Yeah, I was a little young for Woodstock music, but I was right there. So when
Yeah.
I thought things were cool. I want to listen to something cool. You throw the old 8-track of Woodstock on, and there's probably Stills Nation yelling, no, 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 as it changes channels to the next channel on that 8-track.
Oh man, I do remember the 8 tracks.
20-minute song where that thing changes in the middle of
it. You don't realize. I mean, you think about, you go back through, and then we're living in a technological age, and that's one of the things I think with crypto. It's a reflection of that, to where we try to make things more efficient. I mean, as human beings, we want things easier. We want things more efficient. We don't want to have to hand dig things. Let's get in the diesel tractor with a backhoe and do it. It's like, we want things to be more efficient. And then what better than have efficiency and money? We've got all this inefficient system. You try and send an ACH transfer through the existing banking system, and how slow it is.
Oh my gosh.
What takes so long? Why, when I'm wiring money, why is it, here it is, I'm putting it here. Why is it not getting there? Why do I have to wait? But crypto solves that. And, if it's XRP that solves that existing system, it makes it more efficient, great, because it's better than it was. And it's just, whatever we can do is technologically to make things better. That's, my big thing is I still want to have control of my money. And I don't know that, some of the paths that are laid out, they might be more efficient to support the existing infrastructure, but then it comes to a point where, I mean, is the existing infrastructure okay to support, or do we need to kind of transition out of that in some way that's more decentralized, that's more power to the people? But again, that presents its own challenges, because, like you said, a lot of people are complacent. They're not going to make a change. As long as things work, I'll take some abuse. You can rob me of a little bit, but I don't. If I don't have to work as hard and go out and change the world and do something different and take risks and see a better path. But taking that step towards that better path, it's a big thing. It's we're kind of complacent individuals.
One thing I was reflecting back on our fam we have, it's Litecoin fam, but it's more than that, because
it is.
When you get on Spaces. Oh, parenthetical question, kind of to the side. What's the latest you've ever stayed up on a Spaces?
I've gone to 2 a.m. before, and see.
That's what I thought.
Man, on Fridays.
Did you start at 7?
Yeah, man. I work, during the day, and on Fridays I'm like done at about 2 p.m. So I kind of unwind, maybe get a bite to eat, just because I'm going to be out happy hour in it at 4 p.m. I'm going to make sure I'm not on an empty stomach, that kind of thing. But we'll do the happy hour show from 4 to 5, 5:30. Sometimes it's gone as late as 6. And then I'll start Spaces at 7, 7:30. Next thing you know, I've been on this thing. It's a full-time job. It's 2 a.m. It's like, I gotta go to bed. I got a weekend that I gotta be, functional for.
You don't know how many times I've been in bed listening to you guys. I hear what you're saying. I'm like, and I not that you're boring,
No,
not that the group's boring, but somewhere about 9:45, sometimes I wake up and and sometimes you're still going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but usually it's done by then.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, it's and the nice thing about that is it's not just because you've got some spaces out there that are, this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Litecoin. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, talk about this. Last week, a whole different can of worms, anything can come up. And I'm pretty freewheeling with that. I kind of have a long, I host it, and I can control it if I want to and mute people if I want to, but I'm more of, hey, put it out there and let the community decide what's beneficial, what's not. It might not be for me, but hey, talk about it. And so I kind of I have a long leash, and let people kind of
little Elon Muskish.
Yeah, hey, put it out there and let people decide.
I'm not a big Twitter guy overall. I need to be, being in the space I'm in now, because the crypto folks are all on Twitter,
definitely.
So I had to get into Twitter to just stay up on what's going on. And and now that it's a little more free speech zone. It's not there yet, but it's getting closer.
It's better.
it's a lot better,
Yeah,
so
it is.
'cause I got,
It's a lot better.
I had another account. I'm a big Jethro Tull fan,
Uh-huh.
and I had some account. I said something on there as on Twitter, and they kicked me off permanently. I'm like, what the heck did I even say? It was
Right. I
nothing.
don't even. What did I do
But
wrong here?
yeah, exactly. And no one told me, of course, what was going on. So,
Yeah,
well,
it's just
that kind of leads to my next thing. Is one thing is I noticed when I was making questions is we all have these, all our magical internet friends that come together for Westwood and meetups. We all have these crazy nicknames.
yes.
You just don't call Dave Dave. It's Blind Dave. You just don't
Right.
call. And some guys I don't know their real name.
I know.
You got
We
Jay
had
and Daddy-O, and there's
yeah,
Blind Dave in background. I'm Saintjerome, and you're Clint, and that's
yeah.
Litecoin Lisa. Like, I don't think there's hardly a person that doesn't have this crazy crypto nickname.
And you know what? I look at that as I've got a crazy crypto nickname too. I mean, it's more just like a different name, Clint Westwood. I'll give you a little background on that, but I think what it is, it's almost as if, you're given a name at birth and you didn't necessarily choose it, is what it is. And then you kind of get to a point where, I mean, this crypto thing kind of causes you to reawaken and kind of become who you really were born to be. And so that's who you're going to be. And there's nothing stopping you from doing that now. This is who I am. This is what I identify with. This is my thing. So that's my name, and it fits. And so we all choose that. We choose our own path. Clint Westwood, for me, the history of that, I've told it maybe a couple of times. Not many people know where that came from, but it was. I remember when I was a little kid, my uncle, and you'll see him here at the meetups. He at one point, because back in the '70s, Clint Eastwood, huge, movies, all, just yeah, and he had said, I don't know, just as a joke, just mentioned Clint Westwood, just kind of making fun of the name, or just kind of, poking around. I remember him saying that one time when I was little, and it was just something I thought, well, that's kind of unique. That's an interesting, way to rephrase things. And so that was always kind of the thing, when I first got email and that kind of thing, I said, I'm going to use Clint Westwood, it's going to be my handle, this and that. And so it kind of evolved from that. But it's kind of this, I don't know, just a different spin on things. Hey, he's Eastwood, I'll be Westwood.
Yeah, I mean, mine comes from, it's a derivation of my name. That Saintjerome is. I don't go my last name here like that online, but it's not too hard to figure out if you do
right.
If you do a little sleuthing.
Yeah. Get on Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's an old account. Like, okay,
right.
So anyway, so here's Blind Dave for one. I have a picture of his pizza, but I won't put that on there. So I don't think this he'll mind this photo if I can find this real quick. The next guy, oh, here he is. I'll tell you what, I think this has become one of my favorite guys in the crypto space. He's on almost every one of my podcasts, and he says a comment all the time, and he's got something going for him that's hard to say anybody else. I thought I was the number one Jethro Tull fan in the world. I am number two. Number one is Paulie P.
Paulie is,
He
man,
is the
when you
number
talk
one fan.
you talk about music, he knows it all. I mean, late at night at the bar, I'll play something and he'll hear it and he'll name it. Boom, boom, boom. Just an amazing memory. And he kind of grew up in the music industry with his dad. And so he was exposed to a lot of the stuff. And so he's absorbed so much of that information, so much of that knowledge in music. I mean, he's just a walking
his
jukebox.
Story. So we're outside at in the fall when we had the magical mystery or magical anniversary meetup or winter, whenever. When's Lisa's anniversary? What month's that?
October.
October, yeah. So yeah, it was kind of in the fall, right? And we had the little fire outside, and we started talking about Jethro Tull, and Paulie goes, "Well, I got a little tattoo. Did you see his little tattoo?"
I've seen it, but I can't remember what it looks like, though.
It's frickin' back, and it's from the Broadsword and the Beast album, and he didn't get it all done. The guy who was doing it, it's almost all done. The guy who's doing it, something happened, and he never finished it. So I said, okay, you win the best fan award. And then he tells me the story where they're moving equipment for Jethro Tull. Now, hey, folks that don't know anything about music, Jethro Tull is the name of the band, not any singer. He was an agrarian from the 1800s, I believe, or made the first seed drill planter, and then, but so Ian Anderson is the main singer, but Jethro Tull was there and they had to move their equipment. So Tull said, well, if you bring instruments, we'll play a private band for you, or a private performance. I'm like, oh my God, that's like my dream, right?
Yeah.
I met Andy Anderson one time. I was like, oh, this guy's a big, tall fan. I've seen him about 7, 8 times. And so, you know what they brought them? They brought them kazoos.
Oh my
And
goodness.
Jethro Tull played
Kazoo.
kazoos for them. And then Ian Anderson put that in when they did Locomotive Breath, which you probably know that song. Uh, and so Ian Anderson added that to the song. He'd throw kazoos out and have people doing kazoo spin after Polly's group did that. And then I think they switched to regular instruments. But oh my God, I wish I had a DVD of that.
Right. Now is talk about crypto experiences, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it's musical experiences. It's crazy though. I mean, the connections that we can make, and those are the things that matter though. I mean, those are the memories that you're not going to forget. Those are the things that, I think everybody's looking for that experience. And, the life kind of kicks you down and knocks you out of that. You think about when you were a kid, what were your dreams? What did you want to do? What did you want to be? What did you want to happen? And a lot of us have kind of it's been stamped out of us through institutions, through, just the life in general. Kind of, okay, well, I didn't meet my dream. I didn't do what I was going to do. It's never too late to do that though. It's never too late to have those experiences. And that's why it's important, your channel encapsulates that to where, hey, this is a new world. We're going to have some experiences, crypto experiences at a coin show, and bringing it all together. It's about the human experience. And that's the important thing that, through all of this, I kind of, that's my touchstone, my pulse, that I don't want the human experience to die with the technological age. And, some people do, they want the singularity of it, and all that. But it's important that we maintain who we are as human beings, because that's the magic of everything. It's just the magic of coming together and sharing those experiences and watching Jethro Tull with kazoos that then becomes part of the show. I mean, you can't make that stuff up. You can't script that stuff. It's just magic.
Paulie and I, like, we start talking about our cryptos, right? Like that. And we followed such a similar path in that too. Now I'm a little older than him, but it's like I'm just amazed how he starts talking. Well, this is how I got into it, but I was like, that's how I got into it. That's the people I listen to, and that's how come I bought Badow.
Yeah,
I think Paulie
was talking about it. But that's what makes it cool though, because it's you win, you lose, and that's the human emotions. You don't have the full joy without having some of that pain.
Well, my 2 loser things I did, the 3 biggest loser things I did was Badow's got to be number 1. I didn't lose much money on it, but what a terrible coin. And then Salt didn't. It sounded like a good idea, but somewhere it went from $12 to 2 cents.
I've been there. I rode that one too, man. And I still got Salt in the platform. I think they're still vibrant, but I don't know how to get into it. I got some, not that much.
I'll just leave it at 2 cents.
I know.
I can't have more than $1 in it now. So
I know. Throw some salt over the shoulder and move on.
Yeah,
right?
No kidding. And then gosh, I forgot what my last one was there. But yeah, there's like the 3. Oh yeah, Voyager. Bad choice. Yeah. I almost went in the Celsius. And they went down. They went down for, and I didn't put much money in it. I didn't lose that much, but just like, okay, it's like, oh well.
And that's part of the experience. That's part of the cycle that I talk about. Is that's why it's a 4-year cycle. Everybody got burned. I mean, all those exchanges. I mean, you had Celsius, Voyager, Block. What was it? BlockFi. BlockFi.
So,
was another one. Then FTX. I mean, you had all these. It really wasn't crypto's fault. It was the bad players that stole your crypto, and so, but people got burned. They got a bad taste in their mouth. It takes some time getting over that, but it's kind of like the casino in a lot of ways. Eventually you kind of come back because there's something there, there's something going on, there's action. And, you just kind of gravitate toward that, and the lighthouse thing, you see that light and you're just like, I got to be a part of that. I don't know why.
We don't allow no vampires in our casino.
No, and that's it. You just got to be careful. You don't want to be in that vampire casino. Always know where the exit's at. Find the exit and know where that's at. And make sure you get out of there in time.
So, I was going to ask you about on ramps. You got what's your? Because let me pull up a little picture. My latest on ramp is a new one. You probably know the one I'm talking about. That's Olive.
Yeah.
I was on Coinbase, and man, I had some bad experience with Coinbase. Very bad experience. I didn't lose any money, but I'm hearing, like, I think Jay Mack had a horrible thing happen, right? I think he lost a lot of money on Coinbase. Somebody got in it and got into his account.
Yeah.
And
Started
Coinbase wouldn't
trying to,
back him up. I had a friend who's
yeah.
trying to, when Theta was hot and you're trying to get Theta, you know,
Oh yeah.
Coinbase is like holding his money for like 10 days before they released it. I was like, good, you know, and he's one that you had to get in Coinbase to get something to trade for. You know, the only way to get Theta was a trade on GoDex.io or something like that.
Or a swap exchange of some sort. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, now you can just get it directly more places like Exodus or wherever. But yeah, but I really like the Olive and the what I know so far. Now I understand that this is, you own your own keys on this.
Yes. You know? And Olive is CoinFlip is the company. They're based in Illinois and Chicago. And I met Daniel at the time, the CEO, and he still works with CoinFlip. And you met him too.
Yeah.
I met him at a St. Louis meetup in 2019, like July or something like that. And that was the first, he rode down. I used to have a bus, a short bus, you know, we're all riding the short bus. Imagine that. So we're riding the short bus. I'm driving down there and I've got the group of guys, you know, and we're all going down there to this meetup Bitcoin Ben had at a park, you know, out there in the.
That was when I was at that one.
Yep. Then there you go. And that's when I met him. He rode down with us and rode back. And it came from the connection there came from Mitch was doing the Crypto Campfire podcast at the time and had him on, was talking and said, hey, we're going to this meetup. You know, this is when Mitch started building stuff here and stayed for a week. And, you know, that's, you know, all the stuff, you know, he's built a lot of things here. He's a carpenter, great carpenter. And we become great friends. And now he owns the house across the street from me. So kind of crazy, you know, life changes. And that's how I met Daniel. You know, he reached out to him, he had him on the podcast and said, hey, man, you want to go to this meetup? Because he'd never been to anything like that. He was just in the tech side of it. Hey, how can I onboard people into crypto in the best way? And so, you know, he started this company, CoinFlip, with some guys, and you can take cash, put it into a CoinFlip machine, have your own wallet, scan it, boom, and you know, your crypto shows up on your wallet and you walk away. And so that's evolved and they've grown just tremendously. And they've got ATMs everywhere, but what they have now is Olive, and that's a self-custody wallet. So you can download that wallet, you've got your private keys, and you can buy, you know, a few coins directly on, I think, Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, and maybe Chainlink. I'm not sure what the other one is.
Yeah, I was trying to remember that. I think you're right. I think it is Chainlink.
It's on my phone that I'm on right now, or I'd look it up, you know, but I'm talking on the phone. I can't bring up the app. But that, you know, and I bought Litecoin off of that, and it goes right into your wallet, and you can transfer it off right away because it's your own wallet.
Yeah.
Or you can take the private keys and open up another wallet, like in Exodus or in Coinomi or whatever wallet, and then that Litecoin's there. You know, so you've got custody of it. You know, they don't hold it.
I bow my head in shame. I'll have to admit something to you.
Uh-oh.
I transferred Litecoin over to Exodus and changed it to XRP.
You know what? I'll tell you what, that's all right. And you know what? And I'll be full disclosure. I got a little XRP, you know, not much, but just a little bit, just from the standpoint of, you know, why not, again, you know, take a little bit of chance, you know, if it is something that turns into something big, which it very well could. I mean, it doesn't mean you're married to it. I mean, to me, it'd be like, well, I can get more Litecoin at that point, you know, I mean, or do whatever, or, you know,
exactly. Yeah. No, I'm just there. Like, I see an opportunity. I said, well, shoot. I mean, I don't want to be sitting outside and let it go by. And we kind of came back around to this, my fault. But do you understand what's happening in the XLM community to just put them in an uproar with the scamming? Oh my God, it's horrible.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
What they did was I won't name any people, but these people came on and got a group of people confidence. And a lot of good people got in it, and they talked them into this is a real thing, right? And the idea was you can get tokenized pieces of companies and things, kind of like stocks.
Okay.
And so they did it all in the Lobster wallet. Well, what these people did is they had not real tokens, but they looked like real tokens. So people brought their XLM in, and then they took it out on the backside.
Okay.
It was millions of dollars. One guy actually committed suicide. He lost money.
You know, and that's terrible. But again, it's the exchange itself. You know, if you're giving custody over of that XLM for something that might not exist, I mean, you know, it's no different than FTX saying, hey, I'm buying Litecoin and Bitcoin on FTX. It shows right there, and they don't have it.
I think the Lobster wallet itself is okay. It's just the fact that you could do your own tokens on it, that's what was bad. And so I think there's some legit ones, and I'm not 100% sure on what's legit. But I said, I know what I don't. I said I'm not going to touch this because XLM fine. I've had XLM on a Lobster wallet since
Right.
Lobster had a wallet.
Yep.
And in much, I only got like 100. So what's 100 times 9 cents? It's
Right.
not very much money.
But if it's
You know?
$9, you know, that's a
But when
different
they
story.
said Lobster wallet, I go, oh, I think I got money on that. And I went, you know, and went, oh, there it is. I go, what are these token things? That's new to me, like that. But I'm not going to touch those right now because there's something crazy going on.
That's the danger. I mean, with a lot of the blockchains that you can build, you know, let's take Ethereum, for instance, but, you know, you can do it on XLM, I think, and other, you know, blockchains that allow you to put smart contracts on it. We could go out right now, Kent, and we could say, hey, we're going to create an ERC20 token, you know, just like, you know, with Pepe. You can go out and say, hey, this is how many we want to do. And you can see self videos out there, you know, self-help videos or whatever, demonstrations on YouTube to where it takes you a couple of minutes. You go out and you create a token, name it whatever you want. And what happens a lot of times is, for instance, you've got, you know, take any token on the Ethereum blockchain, you know, that exists right now, for instance. You know, I talked about AMP earlier. Okay, AMP. Okay, I can go out there and create an AMP2 token or AMP whatever token or something that looks similar with the same amount of coins. And if somebody doesn't know the difference, they might be trading for the one I created. And, you know, so I get, you know, funding somehow through that. And then I go buy Ethereum with it, you know, and then you're sitting with a worthless coin. So you got to be really careful on this stuff and, you know, do your own research and look at websites like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and do your research on these coins. Make sure it's the right coin. It's got the right smart contract address if you're buying it and swapping for it, especially on these decentralized exchanges like Uniswap. I mean, and they put disclaimers on there. Hey, make sure this is the token you're trading for, because once it happens, it happens. I mean, and that's what scares a lot of people because, you know, what was it? You know, if you're going to rob the banks, you know, where do you go? It wasn't Willie Loman. That's Death of a Salesman. What was it? Willie, what was the guy's name? Bank robber. I can't even think of it. But anyway, they asked him, you know, attributed to him, why do you rob banks? Well, that's where the money's at. You know, why do you scam in crypto? Well, that's where the money's at, you know, and so you got to be careful. I mean, you just got to be careful with this stuff. And so that's why when I talk on my videos, and I don't talk about a lot of other coins, I want to talk about the things that are solid to where, and, you know, and people say, well, I mean, you know, it's not going to pump like these other coins. No, you're right. It's probably not, but it's safe. It's secure. The network's been running, you know, you have it, and it's not, you're not going to get scammed out of it, you know, unless you scam yourself and give it away. So it's important to, you know, do your research on those things and find those coins that are really valuable.
Yeah,
and
I've been consolidating big time. I got rid of a lot of things. I didn't have very much in it, you know. And wallets I had before, I got, you know, I took stuff off. I tell you, a scary one I had was, you know, have you ever, you know anything about the BitFi wallet?
Yeah, a little bit. I've never used it though.
It was well, it was a cool idea, and McAfee, John, you know, Mr. McAfee himself was big time, and that's kind of one thing. I said, oh, that looks cool. Where their private keys are stored nowhere.
Yeah,
you put in a very long sentence or phrase, a very long one, and it makes the private key by doing that. So I mean, that's a kind of a cool way, right? Now you lose that phrase. Well, you like, well, I had it and I didn't touch it for like 2 years. I had a little bit of stuff on it, right? And I go back to it and oh my gosh, it wouldn't work. And then it's like, oh, I need an upgrade. Oh my gosh, to get an upgrade on it, it wouldn't upgrade. And I finally, I'll say this about BitFi. I spent like a week talking to support, and I finally got my funds. And once I got my funds, I got off that. I'm never using that wallet again. You know?
Yeah, but, I mean,
the wallet's okay. It just, I kind of misused it by not keeping up with it, you know, by storing it like a brick somewhere.
Yeah, that's what makes it tough. And I mean, see, that's the big challenge that we've got in crypto. And that's why it's so easy for people. Because Robinhood for a while there, you couldn't withdraw. I think you can now. And people were buying Dogecoin on that was the easy way to do it. You know, hey, go on Robinhood and buy it. Well, you really don't have the Dogecoin. If something happens to them, it's gone. You know, it's just like any other exchange, you know, that I've been burned with in the past. And I've learned my lesson. You know, you leave it on there. I mean, it can go under and your coins aren't there anymore. And so that's why it's so important to self-custody this stuff. And a lot of them, you know, it's hard to self-custody because they're not well-known coins. A lot of the wallets don't have it, so you're getting an obscure wallet that the development team might walk away. Next thing you know, you can't update it in the Apple Store or the Play Store on Google, and pretty soon it's like, well, how do I access these coins? They're on the blockchain, but I don't have any method or tool or interface to do it anymore. You got to be careful.
Student that I had a little meetup and he came to it. He's in his 40s now. I mean, he was on one of my chess players back 25 years ago or so, and we're talking. I go, well, why are you here, Joe? And he, like, because I wanted to see you, and I got a Bitcoin and a half. I go, what?
Like, oh, you do?
And a half. He was a miner. He had a Bitcoin and a half.
Oh, okay.
But you know where he was storing it, and I hope he got it off there. Coinbase. This was when Bitcoin was over 60 grand. So he had over 100 grand.
Oh, man, just sitting there.
Yeah. And I'm like, Joe, you need to get this off.
Yeah.
On there, Joe. Holy cow. That's a lot of money. I mean, he's just a middle-class guy. That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. That's life-changing money. It's a lot of digibugs.
I hope he moved it off. I don't know if he did or not. And, and since then, Bitcoin's down, but still, 30,000 not bad either. Yeah.
No, not at all. And, not knocking Coinbase. I know they've had growing pains, and that was my first buy on Bitcoin, because at the time that was the only thing that you could, the easy way to buy it. And they provided a great service. And, they're a big company now. They're traded on the stock exchanges, or the stock exchange, probably NASDAQ. I don't think it's a Dow. But anyway, but again, it's a company that you're giving custody over. If you go and buy some physical silver at a coin show, are you going to leave it with, not that you're going to do anything with it, but it's like, yeah, you hang on to it for me. It's like, well, I mean, you don't have your coins. What if you're walking out to the car, somebody robs you of the coins? It's like, oh, now what? What do you do? And it's just that, we've got to get into that mindset that, the custodians aren't always the best places. Go try and take money out of the bank, and you think it's your money, but once it's in that bank,
try to get 2,000 out of a bank nowadays, right?
I know.
What do you need it for?
Exactly. You're getting accused like you're some kind of criminal.
A used car? Okay.
Yeah, and I get a better deal with the cash. I mean, that's the problem. Cash isn't a bad thing. It actually saves merchants a lot of money. I just saw a commercial to where one of the credit card companies said, oh yeah, I use my card, for my business, all my purchases, and I get 2% back. Then I'm thinking, but look at the flip side. Every customer that comes in and buys your product, if they use a card, you're losing over 2% because you're paying for it. But if somebody pays with cash, it's like if you go to a local doctor or a dentist or something, and I always ask, hey, can I pay with cash? Oh yeah, we give you a 3% discount or something. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna pay with cash. I mean, you benefit, I benefit. And, so there's nothing wrong with that because there's really there is, but there isn't. It's like fewer intermediaries between it taking a cut. You don't have as many middlemen. And so it offers, you're saving money. Why pay these companies to transact it? And that's where crypto can come in. You heard the story of $90 million in Litecoin getting sent for, pennies. I mean, so that network's very efficient. It's not taking a big cut out of you. So it's kind of a no-brainer as we go forward.
Our local restaurant, which is a really good restaurant, good price, on it, they raised his fee to 6%.
That's brutal.
So he had to pass. He was already eating the 3%, right? On everything. So he's now giving you a 3% discount, and he's still eating 3%, kind of in a sense, if you pay cash. I said, well, so I've been paying in cash. I know that up front, so. It's not a problem. So, well, we've been on a long time, but I had a couple more things. Let's say,
sure.
Mimblewimble. What's your take on Mimblewimble? And I got a little question on that, just offhand.
Okay.
Can you? I'm not that nobody would do this, but can you? If you bring something in the Mimblewimble, does that kind of lose track of its original wallet then?
Yeah, because what happens with Mimblewimble right now, it's only available if you download the Litecoin Core wallet, from the core development team, the website, and you can run it on your computer. It's like old school, downloading the wallet, and on your computer and transferring it that way. So right now, what you can do in that Core wallet is choose, hey, I'm going to put my funds in a regular Litecoin address, or I'm going to put them in a Mimblewimble address. And what happens is this: the Litecoin blockchain has been running for almost 12 years, validating transactions every 2.5 minute blocks. what has been added for over a year now is, hey, we're going to peg in like a side chain that creates blocks at the same time. But on the Mimblewimble side, it's like a catamaran. You got the canoe on one side, now you got another. They're both connected, going the same path. They're always together. But on the one side of it, think of it, it's out of the water and the fish below can't see, whatever you put in there. But, it's a transparent boat, on the other side, and everything you put in there, the fish say, hey, wait a minute, there's a lot of bait in there. I don't know. But on the other side, they have no idea, it's obscured in a way. So what happens is every block of Mimblewimble, it doesn't track the individual transactions. What it does is say, hey, what's the total amount that's been transferred from the main chain over into Mimblewimble? And it just maintains a record of how many are over here out of the 73 million Litecoin that exist right now, 84 million max. And so you can put your Litecoin over here in Mimblewimble, and it just goes down the road, and it can come out at any point to another Litecoin address, but it's not tied to anybody at that point. And it's almost like when you're in a casino gambling, got the lights on, you're putting your chips on the table, yeah, boom, boom, everybody sees what you have, cameras everywhere. But then there's this other side, this other room to where you can go play. There's a curtain, no cameras. You're all in there. You bring in the Litecoin. They know how much you bring in, so they know the total amount that's in there. But, you go in there and gamble, and, you take and you win, and then you come out with your Litecoin, your chips. They don't, they know, it knows how many, like say 3 people walk out at the same time with, pocket full of chips. They know the total amount, but they don't know who has it. Until you then go back to the table and pull out all your chips and say, okay, now we know where those are. Okay, the other ones are in these other 2 people's possession. So it does, in a lot of ways, makes it private, your money, to where if you want to send a Mimblewimble transaction to me, you can send it to my regular Litecoin address from a Mimblewimble address. I don't know that you sent it. I don't know where it came from. There's no address tied to it. It just says showed up. I have no idea where it came from. So it's like an anonymous donation in a church. You're passing the plate. Oh, I'm putting it out, or you can put it in the envelope, and throw it in the plate. And well, you donated. You can count how much is there. We have no idea who gave it though, because you had it in an envelope that no idea, just obscures it. Because if you're gonna have money, you need a certain level of privacy. You don't want to go walking down the street, with $100 bills in a clip, pulling them out everywhere and showing everybody what you have. You become a target, and that's not a good thing. So it makes it a better form of money. It's something that Bitcoin doesn't have. They could adopt it. I don't know that they will. But Litecoin's been kind of the first big, monetary chain that's available anywhere that's adopted that. And I think it's a big thing going forward. A lot of people are going to want that feature. Now, when it gets on mobile wallets, then that's a game changer.
Get it on my mobile phone. I can figure it out. So.
It's a game changer because everything's Mimblewimble at that point. You're walking around paying people. They don't know what address it came from, how much is in your wallet, and that's the way it should be. You don't want everybody knowing how much you got.
I think Monero, the way I understand it, it does kind of the same thing. Like and I don't use Monero, but I think it sends all the like 16 addresses at once or something like that, and so it's all scrambled together, and you don't know, whose address, what amount, or anything when it comes out on the other side.
Yeah, it's like everybody pools their money in, and you know how much money's in the bucket, and it's you don't know where it came from, whose money it is, and that kind of So yeah, it's a similar concept. But it is a pure privacy coin, Monero. The nice thing about Litecoin is it's opt in or opt out. You can choose to be completely on the chain, and everybody can see the transactions, and there's a need for that. Absolutely. Like Lisa, she runs a charity. It's like, hey, this is my public address for the charity. We want to be able to see all the transactions that come in, and everybody can see that. But there are people who want to donate to that charity anonymously. Well, I don't want to send it from my Litecoin address. I'd rather send it from a Mimblewimble address, and nobody needs to know how much I'm sending, what I'm sending. And so it affords you that privacy level.
So let me switch on you again.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that everybody knows where to find you like that. So see if I got this right now. Thursdays, is this going to be a regular thing with Blind Dave?
Yep.
And is that 5 o'clock Central Time on Thursdays?
Yep. It'll be 5 o'clock Central Time to 7 o'clock Central Time. We just kind of said a 2-hour time frame is good.
Blind Dave's channel on YouTube, right? Can you do
Twitter? On YouTube.
Get their Twitter too?
I don't know if he might be broadcasting it on Twitter. I'm not sure if he is or not.
I found you guys on YouTube on the replay, and I think,
Yeah.
well, are you going to go live this next time?
Yeah, we're gonna go live this time. The
Okay.
first was a kind of a dry run to feel everything
Right.
out, what technical issues we've got. But yeah, we're gonna be doing it live 5 to 7 p.m. Central Time every Thursdays on Blind Dave's channel. If you can't find it, kind of the clearinghouse of all things. If you go to clintwestwood.net, I put links.
Over there.
There you go. I put links to all that stuff. I've got a link to your channel. I got a link to Blind Dave's, Lisa's, you know, Mitch.
That.
I mean, everybody, because it's hard sometimes because the algorithm prevents you from pulling up what you want on YouTube.
And I'll put a link to your channel below when I get this done. You know,
awesome.
So everybody, they go to clintwestwood.net, isn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
And get there. So that's cool. And then you do happy hour on Fridays, 4 to whenever Central Time. Usually an hour, but it has a tendency to go up to 2 hours, like sometimes, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
And then spaces usually, and you're hosting most of the time. At least,
usually I do that. You know, so follow my Twitter feed, and then you'll see when it's posted, when the spaces is posted, and that's just a place where no video, all audio, just kind of like having a discussion, you know, about whatever. And yeah, it's crypto based, but it can be anything, you know, just anything we get into.
And how often do you try to go about 4 days a week when you're doing your own podcast?
It depends, you know, it kind of depends on my lifestyle. It's going along, you know, and what I got going. But yeah, I'll the live, I'm not real consistent on that. It's just whenever I choose to do it, but you can always rewatch it on my YouTube channel. And again, you can go to clintwestwood.net at the top. Follow me on Twitter, YouTube, click the link. That way you're not searching for it. You know, sometimes these handles, I got an underscore on both sides of Clint Westwood, and sometimes it doesn't search right when you try and pull it up. But yeah, just go to the website, clintwestwood.net. You can follow me anywhere there and click on it. And, you know, all you great people in the family, you know, I put your links out there so everybody can follow you. And
the fam's been real good. So I'm on four podcast, four platforms, I should say. So I'm on YouTube's my main one. And then I'm also on a BitChute. And I get a surprising amount of hits over there. A lot of international people. It's like, say I had that one crazy viral video, mine viral for me, where I got like 10,000 views.
I saw that.
I was like, what the heck? You know, it was on XRP and XLM. And it just took off like maniac. Well, then, you know, then I get a couple hundred more on BitChute, and I usually get around 100 every video over there at least.
That's pretty good.
And then YouTube, which is weird. It's UGETUBE. That's Utah Gun Exchange. I get like 100 views on that every time.
That's awesome.
That's a very good free speech platform. People don't. It's kind of a secret, but you can. They really let you talk, which is nice. Then I'm on Rumble, but Rumble's like, I don't know. You think we should let people see now? Okay, I'll get like 4 or 5. I think I've had a high water of about 70 on Rumble.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't get out there much.
I know. And so that's the struggle. They make it easy, you know, with all these 3-letter agencies that have formed these social media companies. They make it very easy to use those tools, but then they come back and say, well, you know, it's not really free speech. You know, we're giving you all the tools and we're going to monetize you, and, you know, you're not going to get a lot out of it. And we're going to smack you down whenever we want to. And so it's good to find those things. It's hard. It's a struggle. We're in a transition to do those things, to get the information out. And free speech is very important, I think. I like what Twitter's doing, what Elon Musk has done with that. And I think we need more of that, to where, I mean, we got to get the information out there and let people decide for themselves.
Yeah, I started doing this because, you know, sponsoring Ballet Wallets here.
Yeah.
I kind of got into it like that because I was an ambassador, and they they had these contests. Like there's like 3 different world groups, right? And so it's like Asia, United States, and then the rest of the world. We're 3 groups, and we had this contest. I started podcasting like that. Well, I'm going to tell on Ballet a little bit. We only had 9 people, and 2 of them lived in Florida. So I had the other 49 states. I take it since 2 of them were in Florida, and you know, I think I had some pretty good. And I still support Ballet, but they haven't supported me as much as they really should have at this point. I like the wallet. The wallet is so unique that, you know, it's folks, it looks like a credit card. It's made out of metal. It's just steel. On the outside is a sticker that is your public key, and you can show the whole world that, because that's how you get money. And then to send it, you need to have the Ballet app on your phone. And then you pull back that first sticker, you got a QR code, which is part of it. And then you got a passphrase down below. Now, I didn't know until I made the description for Lisa that passphrase, I thought I was going to say dog, cat. Like, no, it's numbers and letters. It's not any words at all. So
randomly
generated. So it's like B07F, whatever. And there's and you do those first, and then you put the QR code in. And I had to load her wallet. It's the first time I ever sent on it. You have to load the wallet in order to do those inscriptions. That worked like a charm. And so that's one of my final questions was, what do you do with an EMP? Well, let me just do a little Ballet thing. Well, if you got an EMP, your money's still on this wallet. The trouble is, can you send it? Can you send it?
Right. That is the problem.
But you can't get it scrambled because it is a hard wallet, because folks, these coins and tokens are just numbers.
Yep.
There is no Bitcoin. I get crack up at the coin shows. I got these little toy Bitcoins, and they come up and ask me, "Is that a Bitcoin?" I go, "Well, if it was, and that's $60,000, I wouldn't
be giving it to you."
It just kills me. And then I let them have the little toy Bitcoin. I get all the people look at my booth. Says, "Why you got these out there? Made you look."
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, marketing, baby.
And that's exactly right.
But it is. I mean, that's what it takes, because again, like I said, we've known about it for a long time. I knew about it since 2013, really known about it, but never fully internalized it. So it's kind of a mind shift. We're used to having this thing in our hands. Now, generations that are coming up, like you see, everything's digital. They're used to it. I never thought that I would pay for, something besides a VHS tape, a cassette tape, or a DVD for a movie or music, or a CD. I want it in my hand. I didn't think I'd be paying for like this digital music, that I have possession of, but I don't really have possession of. It's a weird thing. But the younger generations are used to that. They're used to this technology. It is going that way to further humanity and the conveniences that we seek. The digital world is here. You can't do anything that isn't digital at this point. It's very difficult.
You've watched the movie before, and you thought it was really cool. Back in the day, there's these video pirates. I'm not going to say who was one of those.
Yeah.
And we had all these VHS tapes.
You're hooking them up with the RCA cable.
What a waste!
And playing it.
What a waste of time. I mean, with everything streaming now, and most of those are free anyway.
I know. It's crazy.
We had a friend. My gosh, his whole wall was VHS tapes he copied.
The labels are crossed out with a new title on it. Gets you copied over it. And
what a waste of time and money.
And then you think about it, look at how efficient we are, and look how efficient money is becoming. And that's a necessary thing, because it can be so cumbersome. You can't carry around bricks of gold and silver, to pay for things. I mean, you can, but you better be buying something huge, and it's hard. It's not very divisible. It is, but how do you get it exactly right? Pieces of 8. That's why they had that. So you can cut it up into, but with the digital world, like a Bitcoin, I can't afford a whole Bitcoin. Yeah, but you can afford a Satoshi, which is the smallest unit, point, 7 zeros and a 1. And you can give exact amounts, in the digital world that we're in now, because there's no making change. It's just send exactly what is necessary, and it's done. It's efficient. You got it. Okay. Yep. That's my Bitcoin now. You send it to me.
Well, I did a little subscriber contest, on, trying to get started. I think for 80 subscribers, I think it was the first thing. So I said, when I get to 40, I think. When I get 40 subscribers,
I think so, yeah.
The first one to comment, I'm going to send you 10,000 Satoshis. That's about $3, right?
Yeah.
So that guy, I never got hold of him again. But the next guy, I said, okay, he won. He commented, and I sent him to he just put his public address right there on the comment, because why not, right?
Yeah.
I mean, all he's going to do is get money, and I sent him the $3. He said, "Thank you very much." It worked like a charm.
Yeah.
And that's the digital age we're in.
Exactly. You can send money anywhere, any time of the day, across borders. And that's why when you get your head around it, you realize it's borderless money. It's sovereign money, that the network, people contributing, to the network, the machines that you're devoting energy to the network, it does all the work. And you don't have to worry about, is it fake? Do I need to do a scratch test? I mean, it shows up or it doesn't show up. and you've got possession of it. The blockchain takes care of all that. All those computers running around the world take care of it. So I do get that question. Well, what if there's an EMP in the US? Okay, then we all got a lot of problems.
Yeah,
Thing is,
there's a
though,
lot
the
more.
network's
There's a lot
still
more
running
than
around
this.
the
Yeah.
world. It's
Yep.
still there. It's just a matter of, okay, how do I access it?
Mhm.
But at that point, I mean, you're not going to be worried about accessing it because, you can't go to the ATM anymore and get cash out. You can't go to the gas station and pay. You can't do anything at that point. But it's still out there. Technologically, it still works and it's fine. It's just you might have to find a way out of the country at that point, and restore it somewhere else in another currency.
I think the event that really got me to get some Bitcoin and more for like emergency survival situation was in Cyprus when the people could not get their cash out of their bank accounts, but yet people with Bitcoin went right up to the Bitcoin machine and got their own currency with no sweat. And I went, whoa, wait a minute, what's this about? So one of the first things I did was he's had CoinFlip for a long time. And in Urbana, there's not too many of these still, but Bitcoin ATMs that will give you cash back.
There's a few of them out there.
There's not a lot of them, but there was one in Urbana. So I went to Urbana. I said I'd already bought some crypto on it, just trying it out, see how it worked. I actually put in Litecoin and got cash back. I went, whoa, that is
okay. This is full circle.
I paid too much for it, but the fact that if you're in an emergency situation, you can do it, and you can get dirty fiat.
Right. If you're stuck somewhere and you have no gasoline, how much is a gallon of gas worth to you? I don't care what it costs. I need it because I need to go get eggs from the farmer or something. I can't walk all that. And that's water in the desert. How much is the bottle of water worth in the desert? You don't care. I need it, or else I'm not going to live.
Yeah, and so that's gold here.
Right. I mean, and that's the utility of it. That, I mean, once you understand that, and that's what I mean, a lot of people, and this is why I'm big on Litecoin, because, many, many times people have these experiences. Once they start using a certain crypto like Litecoin, they understand, wow, this is like everywhere. And I got my cash. It worked. It just works. Okay. Didn't cost me a bunch of money in fees on the network. It might have, through the intermediary, but still you're able to use it. And I mean, and that's the key going forward. What's useful, what's going to be around, what are those things that, when you're in a pinch you're going to need it.
Yeah. I think Litecoin to me is the best currency.
I think so. That's why I say sound money for the digital age.
That's my number one, because ultimately why'd I get into this? I got into this just like you did. I wanted to be able to find another exchange method. And, gold and silver is great, but, like we said, we're in a digital age, and you can't, you're not going to trust sending like 5 ounces of silver overseas. It isn't going to get there.
Or you pull out a gold bar and, somebody looks at it and says, okay, it looks like gold. It's got numbers stamped on it. It looks like, it's, from Engelhard or something, and from the Canadian, mint. But there's always that level of doubt that what if this is fake and isn't real? I'm getting duped. I don't have the tools to test it. The coin shop's not open on Sunday, and I don't know a guy. What do I do?
I just bought a new tool that I'm going to sell at the next coin show, and I got to play around with it more. But when you drop silver coin, it's got a different sound, right?
Oh, you got the ting.
Yeah. Well, this thing, it's like little tweezers, and you put your coin in it, fake or real, and you got a little stick, and you hit it. And then there's an app on the phone that hears that sound, and it tells
the frequency of it.
It even tells you what coin it is if you put it in there.
Wow, that's
crazy. And this is like it's like a $25-$30 thing, like that. Now
it's priceless.
Well, the machines are like they're 100%. You run that through, and they read it, and they're like, my coin dealer in town, I think now they're like $1,600. He bought his like 400 years ago. I think they're 1,600 to 2,000 now. Well, this thing's like $25. And if you got that app on your phone, you ping it, and it'll do gold and silver.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so maybe it's not 100%, but
but it's better than going blind.
Fake coins right now. There's so many fake.
I know. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and the silver eagles that are fake look really good, and they got they're silver plated with copper on the inside.
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, it is. And so, and like the evolution of money and the efficiency of money, and that's where blockchain kind of picks that up to where, all that work, all that computing power that people say, oh, it wastes energy. Well, how much energy is the dollar wasted? I mean, how much have we sent, to different countries to blow things up.
I got this in change the other day. It's not going to come. Maybe I back up a little bit. You can't see it. You can't see it, but it looks like a quarter, right? It's
Yeah.
10 pence.
Really?
I got that in regular change, about the size of a quarter. I just look up day. I got ripped off. That's only worth 12 cents.
Oh man. Well, if you look at the metallic value of the quarters nowadays,
Yeah.
it's probably less than 12 cents. It's probably like a penny, in actual
So
monetary value.
I mean, I could easily pass it off again as a quarter. I mean, that would
there
be
you go.
too.
Yeah. Just don't do that with
just
Susan B. Anthony's. You're losing.
Getting 10 pence in America, that's pretty crazy. That they got all the way Canadian currency. That's one thing, but well, we've been going a long time. I mean, I could go on and on. So, but maybe we should get this out there to the gang and say, hey,
yeah, let's put that
here's
out.
The real Clint Westwood.
Yep, that's it. You're picking my brain a little bit. Different facets.
Did I have some unique questions?
Yeah, I like it. That's great. I love that you do that. No, I'm up for the ask me anything.
Yeah, I listened to that. That's where I got the idea for Rube Goldberg. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and Vampire Casino, that's an easy one. How many times I heard that thing? Yeah, but that's a perfect description.
That's what it is. I mean, kind of, it's a good analogy, I think. So I use it.
Thanks. I'll try to get this out here. So I'll pause this, and then I'll say a goodbye to you first. Okay. So we'll do a pause goodbye. We'll see you soon.
Yes. Right? Thanks for watching.
Hey, folks, look down below. This isn't down with the video. This is look down below. We got links to everything and a couple discount things. Clint's got some good discounts on his site too. So go on over there. Thanks for watching.